Good morning. Welcome to our Christmas program. Christmas service a little delayed, but great crowd here today, and we're just excited. I've seen some of the children all costumed up, looking like little angels, and so we're really excited that you're here today, and pray that the Lord would bless and give us a wonderful day of worship as we approach Christmas Day, as we begin our worship, focus upon the Lord Jesus Christ as we should this time. All right, we have so many prayer requests. Our Wednesday nights, the prayer sheet is flooded with so many sicknesses and people going through life and death things. It's just been extraordinary. I've never seen it in our 30 years like this. And so we really need to be in prayer for one another. I'll mention more a little bit later to the service, just some more of the specific prayer requests. But just keep one another in prayer and the challenges that our world faces and our church faces. And these families that are battling different sicknesses. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, thank you that we can come to you, Lord, with heavy burdens. There are some real trials and afflictions that some of our own people are going through. Some need some great healing, restoration. I think of Victor recuperating from his surgery, Thomas and Anna, Steve's father, Cecilia's brother who died, and the list just goes on and on. Fabricio and Daniele and many others, Lord, that we are just heavy-hearted for, and are going through some real trials and challenges. Just to tie it in with our series on Sunday mornings, Lord, you're taking them to places, and there's always a purpose there. We thank you that we can gather today. Thank you for those that are here, and we trust that others are online. And we ask the great blessing of God to flow from heaven today. We don't know how many more days we have on this earth, Lord, how much more you can take before Jesus comes. But one way or the other, you're going to take we Christians home, or we're going to meet you in the air, Lord. We pray for our world who is just going through so many issues. With the economy, with politics, with health issues, with so much, Lord, that you may be using that to grab the attention of the world, or at least try to. And just pray that our hearts will be soft and tender to the work of the Lord Jesus Christ. We have no idea what your plans and purposes are, Lord. But what we can do is find out what is your purpose for our lives. And may we be faithful to that. And we pray that the Lord Jesus Christ would be honored in a particular way this time of the year. When we remember that Christ left the splendors of heaven to come to this earth to give his life that we might have life. Thank you for the joyous story of Jesus and what it means to us, what it brings to us, the great gifts that God gives to his people of peace and hope and joy. And I pray you bless the word as it goes forth this morning. Bless the children and the adults who will be singing as part of our special Christmas program. And you honor yourself. Any that are unsaved or unsure, may they be drawn to your side and be gloriously saved today. And we'll thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Turn, if you would, in your Bibles to Luke chapter 2. I want to begin this morning, if you'll follow along, Luke chapter 2, beginning with verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one, unto his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And that phrase, no room, is where I'm going to preach from this morning. Now, we've been on this journey with Bible characters, going to places where God has taken people. I personally believe that wherever God takes you, there's a purpose. Okay? It's just not accident or haphazard why we end up in places that we do. But in particular, there's some points in our lives, some places in our lives where God takes us. And in these places, we need to be very sensitive to what the Lord is doing. This morning, we're going to an inn. Now, it's not a Holiday Inn. It's not a Hampton Inn. It's not a Sheridan Inn. It's the Stable Inn. It's in Bethlehem. And I'm sure Joseph in particular is the head of the family. I'm sure that he's going there thinking, Lord, why now? My wife is close to giving birth, and to take this travel, to take this journey, it just doesn't make sense right now. I'm sure that's going through his mind. But he's also thinking, well, when I get to Bethlehem, everybody knows about the Bethlehem Inn. And we'll just get a room there, we'll take care of a few matters, and then we'll go home. But that's not how it worked out for them, and that's not how it works out for us sometimes. Okay? We wonder why God is doing something in my life right now. Lord, if you just would have waited another year until these matters were behind me, I could handle it. Or, Lord, if it had just happened 2 months earlier, it'd have been all right. But I know, God, if you're going to take me somewhere, it'll be okay, and I'll get that Sheridan Inn. But as you and I know, it doesn't always work that way. And sometimes we're in the Stable Inn in life. We may not understand exactly what God is doing, but God is always doing something for a purpose. So this was not planned by Joseph. He's probably thinking, why? Why this decree now? I have to travel with my pregnant wife. But I believe that in this purposeful place where Joseph and Mary were taken, they accepted it as God's will, and God would provide care and nurture, and His grace would be sufficient. And that's what you and I have to learn when God takes us to these places, just like He did with Joseph and Mary. That no matter how I don't like it, it's not the right time, and then I kind of figure out, well, God will do this at least, and God doesn't do that, but allows something else. It's time for me to be reminded that God's grace is sufficient no matter what comes. And He's going to take us to places. A hospital, a doctor's office, a car accident, a flat tire. And it may be for us, it may be for someone else in our family. What's God's purpose? Learn His grace and goodness, His care for us. When we get there, like Mary and Joseph, we may have to endure some difficulties, some challenges, some things not going the way we plan, but it'll be okay. God will provide His grace and His mercy in that place. The innkeeper said, no room, no room. And this morning I want to preach a message to you I've entitled, Is There Room in Your Life for Jesus? And I want to kind of hone in on the innkeeper. And I want to look at 3 points this morning very quickly. First of all, if you have your notes, you can fill in a blank. He was unaware of his notoriety. This is Jesus' notoriety. He was unaware of Jesus' notoriety. We're not told if it's a man or a woman. We don't know. It's an innkeeper. But he was not aware who it was that was coming in and saying, sir, listen, I'm in a real predicament here. As you can see, my wife is great with child. Please, you have a room for us? I don't think he realized who he was turning away. He did not know who it was. The shepherds knew. Joseph and Mary knew. The prophets knew. The angels knew. Not the innkeeper. It reminded me of a story many years ago when Pastor Hurd was delivering flowers. Okay, he had a flower business and delivery service. And my wife and I would help him out during Christmas time, as some of you did. And I remember we had a delivery at this address. And I knew it was City Hall. I don't think Debbie did. She was just coming along. I told her, listen, I'm going to have a date with you. We're going to go out and deliver flowers. And but she's coming along and helping, greatly helping. And so we go into this the new City Hall, and there's a big crowd of reporters. And people are taking pictures and walking along this big crowd following just a couple people. And I'm thinking, what's going on there? As I get closer, it's the mayor. It's the mayor. I didn't recognize him other than just from his pictures, or a newscast. And I see him there. And then we go a little bit further, and sure enough, the mayor walks right past me as I'm getting on the elevator with this flower delivery, Debbie and I. And he walks past me. I knew it was the mayor then. I recognized him. Okay? I don't think he recognized me. Okay? Debbie? She had no idea. She had never really seen the mayor on TV. So she didn't know. So when this man passes by, it's like Debbie could have said, well, here, Mayor, you're the mayor. Here, take these flowers. I'll make it right with Pastor Hurd later. I'll just give them to you, okay? But she didn't know who it was. And that's exactly how it was with the innkeeper. He didn't know who was, hey, listen, we need a room. We need a room. Look, here's my wife. He didn't know his notoriety. He didn't know the distinction of this family. Jesus said in John 15:18, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. They're going to treat you terribly because they don't know God. They're not aware of God. Jesus would go on in a prayer that we studied on Wednesday nights in John 17. As to God, he says, as thou hast given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as thou hast given him. And this is life eternal, that they may know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent. That's what Jesus prayed. They might know thee. Because people in the world, most people in the world, do not know him. Jesus knows us. You're not going to go anywhere. You and I are not going to do anything at all without Jesus knowing exactly about it. Okay? Parents wish they had that ability. Children could not go anywhere or do anything without it coming back to them. It doesn't work that way. But Jesus knows all about us. We may not know him, but he knows us. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep and am known of mine. In 2 Timothy 2:19, Paul says, nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. And let every one that nameth the name of Christ depart from iniquity. If you're here this morning or watching online and you're not sure of the Lord, and maybe you're like the innkeeper, it's amazing how many cultures from around the world have come to our area. And I don't know how many times people have said to me from other cultures, other nations of the world, some of them educated, saying, who is this God, Santa Claus, that the world worships over here? They don't know. They don't know Jesus. Don't be unaware of your need for him. Most of the world is not aware. I don't really look at it that most of the world is outright rejected Christ. There are definitely a good number. I think it's more that they're just unaware of their need. They'll think, well, I go to church, I go to some kind of mosque, I go to some kind of synagogue, I go to some kind of church building or some kind of worship place, and I try to do pretty good. And, I know God. Not perfect, but I know God. But they're unaware of their need. They're really unaware of how powerful sin is. And that sin nature will take us directly to hell. But that's the reason Christ came, offering a free gift to be saved. So this morning, if you're not sure, don't be like the innkeeper and unaware of this notoriety of Christ, who he is, and what he alone can do. For the Christian, it reminds me of Hebrews 13:2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Unawares. I believe that's true today. Problem is, how do you know if it was an angel that helped you out? I mean, it may have been the Spirit. It may have been another friend, or somebody made a call for you or did something you don't even know about it. But some of these occasions, God has sent an angel down, and we're unaware of it. We've got to be careful that we don't act like the innkeeper and unaware. We can be unaware of Jesus in our presence. We can be unaware of His protection and care over us if we're not careful. And when we do, we act like the innkeeper. Like, by the way, I've got some plan. I've got to get these things done in my life. We can complain and whine. Exactly what Joseph and Mary could have done. I mean, you think about the timing, okay? Why have to go now? You know? And then get there, and it goes from, you know, the frying pan into the fire. It gets worse. There's no room in the end. And yet they learn God's grace and mercy and His care for them. And when we get into these purposeful places in our lives, we need to be reminded, it's okay. It's okay, God. You know, I'm not prepared for this, but it's okay. I know You, and You will take care of me. Secondly, the innkeeper was unattentive to his needs. He was unattentive to his needs. Joseph, in particular, is the head of that family. He's thinking, I have to take care of my wife and this baby that God has entrusted to us. And innkeeper, you got needs? I got needs. And all my needs are met now. I got a full inn. You know, things are well. I'm happy. I can't help you. He's thinking only of himself and his needs. Business is booming. That's what matters. So He sends him away. Exactly what Jesus taught about with another innkeeper. When Jesus was teaching His disciples, in Luke chapter 10, verse 30, and Jesus answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise a Levite. So we got two religious people. When he was at the place, see, Jesus is teaching about a place. When he was at that place and saw this person in need, looked on him, passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and he went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow he departed, and took out 2 pence, and gave them to the host, and said to him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Here was a person in need, but he was attentive unto the needs of this man. The Good Samaritan would go the second mile. The innkeeper in our story was unattentive to the needs. It's amazing to think of God with needs. We think of God and He is perfect. But the Bible does say that He has needs. And what He needs are several things I'm going to share with you. First of all, He needs soul winners. Jesus said in Matthew 9:37, then saith He unto His disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the labors are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that He will send forth labors into His harvest. The Lord needs workers who will think less of themselves and more of the needs of others. The innkeeper, listen, my need that. Okay? Jesus' needs were not met. Mary and Joseph's needs were not met. And we can do the same to the Lord today. He loves the people the terrorists, the murderers, the rapists, the abusers, okay, the liberals, okay, anybody that's contrary to sound doctrine, to righteous living, He loves them. It's a good thing because He loved us when we were that way, but He loves them. But God in His own will has chosen to use mankind, Christian mankind. And He only uses a certain kind. They have to be saved, and they want to be ones that want to be used. Can't use a person that's saved and I'm too busy. And He wants them to go out to represent Him, tell the world how much they are loved and cared about, and how their sin can be removed. He also needs worshipers. There's a lot of worshipers in our world. I don't know what the percentage are of people that go to, quote, a church or a synagogue or a mosque or a building or whatever it might be, whatever grouping, whatever cult, whatever, Kingdom Hall, whatever it might be, a temple, no matter what it is. I'm not sure what the percentages are, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of religions in our world, and there's a fair number that go sometimes, or at least identify with that. But God doesn't need those. He's not looking for those. He says so. Jesus said, "But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh." He's looking for such to worship Him. God is a spirit, and they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. In Mark chapter 7, He talks about the worship of some of these is vain. It's useless because it's not in truth. God's looking for true worshipers. Not only every day of the week we can worship God, but especially on His day, Sunday, the Lord's day. When we gather together and we can do these one another's upon. We can come and sing and fellowship. Okay? Sometimes we think we've got it so bad here. I'm considering, as part of my messages in this series, Purposeful Places, I'm going to bring out my book on Fox's Book of Martyrs, and I've got 3 or 4 volumes of church history books. It'll put us to shame. Oh God, I have to wear a mask. They won't let me travel. Or if I travel, I have to do this. Oh God. And the government is making us pay taxes to abortions or to this or that. Oh God, it's so bad here. And I agree with you, all those things. Let me read you about what other Christians went through. Remind us we don't have it so bad. Okay? Oh, you used to look at the first century. Okay? They chop off people. John the Baptist, his head's off. Peter, you're next. And if God hadn't interceded, he'd have been next. Putting Paul in prison, many dying in that inner prison. It's not that bad here yet. Maybe in some countries, maybe. God is looking for people that really worship Him. Not make excuse. Genuine worship. From the heart. Come. He's looking for servants. People just do whatever's needed. Hebrews 9:14, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered Himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God. That's what we're supposed to be doing. He's purged us, He's saved us so that we can serve God. The innkeeper is serving himself, being sure everything is going good. Hebrews 12:28. Wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear. That's what God needs. He needs servant people to say, But what can I do? What more can I do? But what happens is, it seems like it's less. It's less, and there's more needs abound in the church. And scrambling to cover things to get helpers. That's how it is here. God needs servants. It's also in the hereafter. In Revelation 7:15, therefore, are they before the throne of God and serve Him day and night in His temple. And He that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them. Folks, we're going to be doing that up in heaven, serving the Lord. Let's get some practice here. As innkeeper was inattentive, so we can be about this service. God cried out through Malachi to the Israelites in the Old Testament. In Malachi 3:14, ye have said, God says to them, ye have said, it is vain to serve God. How could somebody say that? It's worthless, but I can use my time and my talents and the treasures that God has given me. I have a lot of other things I can use it on. God cried out through the prophet, that's what you said. It's vain to serve God. And what profit is that if we have kept His ordinance? What profit? Yeah, I know the Bible says I should be doing that, but, And the rest of the verse says this, and that they have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts. Third thing they were doing. Why should we walk mournfully, soberly, righteously before God? See, that was a nation in great peril, in great decline. That's what happens. Jesus touched on this in Luke 9:59, and He said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go bury my Father. And Jesus said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God. Now, someone misunderstood that, thinking, Jesus, He's not compassionate. This man's father's dying. You read into the background of it, and many authors and scholars have said, what he's saying is when my father is dead. Not that he's on the deathbed right now, but when he dies, in other words, when I take care of these things, man, then I'll start tithing. When I take care of these things, man, I'm going to become a member of the church. When I take care of these things, I'm going to get baptized, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. That's why Jesus said, let the spiritually dead who are doing nothing for God, let them bury the dead. You go out and preach the kingdom. You go out and serve me. That's what I need. And another also said, Lord, I will follow Thee, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house. That's kind of where the innkeeper is. It's me first. God second. The innkeeper made excuse. The Son of God. With the Son of God, let's don't make excuse to Him. Even the unsaved. Romans 1, Paul writes, for the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. So in other words, we look at creation. That's why Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God. So creation shows there is a God. So the creation which is visible shows behind that, is a visible God. Being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So the unbeliever will not have an excuse. People will say to me, Pastor, what about those people along the Amazon, along, some village, tucked away in a jungle or something? They've never heard. They don't have a cell phone. They don't have internet. They don't have TV or radio. And, what about them? Surely God's not going to send them to hell. Now let's think about that for a moment. If that was true, why go and tell anybody? Because if they don't know, then they'll go to heaven. So then we would not have the Great Commission go into all the world. We would not be witnessing to people, passing out tracts. We'd just be quiet. Don't tell anybody, because if they know, then they're responsible. That's not how it works. We're born sinners no matter where we're born. And I'm going to hell if I keep this sin. I've got to get it removed. And that's why God lays on the heart of missionaries to go and to tell in all the world, and it lays upon our hearts here in our local community to do that. Because they are without excuse. When God brings you to a stable instead of a shared inn, let's think about God's needs. What am I doing with my life? Yeah, I'm here. I didn't plan to be here. I expect, well, at least I'm here. This will happen to me. And then this did happen, and maybe this, and why in this relationship? Why did this? Why? God brings us. Let's realize God has a purpose and a will. And maybe part of it is to look that God has needs. Maybe He's trying to get my attention. We're not careful, we become so full of self. There's no room in our life for Jesus, and we're unattentive to His needs. Finally, this morning, the innkeeper was unaware, he was unattentive, and thirdly, he was unprepared for this night. If he had known who it was, I believe he would have prepared. Okay? Jesus is coming. Okay, Jesus come. Okay, so listen, guys. This is a king, and I may not 100% believe in. I'm not sure, but here's a lot of notoriety, and I've been sharing some. Let's get these rooms clean. Let's get that. Let's give them the best room. Let's get everything ready. No preparation for this night. I don't think he would have sent him away. He'd have made room somewhere, even if he had to give up his own room. This is Mary and Joseph. She's bearing the Christ child. He's thinking it's just another night. That's how our world is. That's what Jesus said. To the unbeliever, we need to prepare to meet God. Prophet Amos, God cried out, "Prepare to meet thy God, O Israel." Amos chapter 4, verse 12. Prepare to meet God. A lot of people are unprepared. Okay? Jesus said in Matthew 24, He's talking about the coming of Christ. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Exactly what's going on today. People are going on in life. Even COVID and other things cannot get people's attention. It's just, we got this saying, let's do whatever we have to do. Let's get through this so we can get back on. You're restricting my freedoms and my lifestyle. Let's just get on. Jesus says, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. You're not saved. You need to prepare. Because someday He's coming. Okay? He promised He's coming. He's not coming to flood the world. But His Son, Jesus Christ, is coming to take judgment upon the world. What about we saved? Are we prepared? Every day when we leave our house, are we prepared? Every night we go to bed, are we prepared? Peter said in 1 Peter 3:15, "But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always." Be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that's in you with meekness and fear. That's what the Lord The innkeeper was unattentive, was not ready, he was not prepared. Are we prepared to give an answer to every man that sees something in us? You act, you talk different. Your goals seem to be different. Your attitude, your work, just how you do things, how you live, your family, there's something different. What is it? Let me tell you. Noah, he prepared, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. He prepared because God told him to. Didn't even understand it. Didn't know what rain was. Worked for 120 years, preached for 120 years with no converts except his own family. Preaching, building and preaching, building and preaching, building and preaching, because God told him to do that. He prepared. And Jesus told us He's coming. We Christians, just keep doing work your job, preach, soul win, teach, be involved, get involved, do this. Because I'm coming. Just like that flood came. This verse hung under the plaque in our seminary hallway. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but of wood and of earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. That's what God wants. Prepared to do the work that maybe He will reveal to us for His will for our lives. Jesus was prepared. John 14, I go to prepare a place for you. He's working. He's preparing. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 2:9, but as it is written, eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love Him. Wow. What are those things? What has God got up there? You know what He's got up there? We don't know. It's not entered in our mind. Our mind cannot contain it. We couldn't even think of what? The best we could think of. It's not even entered. But God is preparing for us that are saved. And can't we, this little bit of time we have on earth, with the world in such dire needs of missionaries and home missionaries and a vibrant church in a community, how God needs that and wants that to shine bright into a darkened world. God didn't make it easy on Mary and Joseph. You got to take your pregnant wife, travel, and when you get there, you're not going to stay in the Bethlehem Inn. You're going to be in the stable inn. Okay? Didn't make it easy. You know what? He's not going to make it easy on us all the time. We get away with a lot of easy stuff. We got pretty made here in North America in a lot of ways. There's no guarantee to make it easy on us. One last verse. Jesus said in Luke 21:34, and take heed to yourselves. This is to His disciples. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time, be careful, at any time, your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting. Surfeiting. Is He talking about surfing the internet? And I'm overcharged? Surfing on my cell phone? Surfing on social media or whatever I surf and just go around and spend my time on? No, it's not actually the word. The word has to do with drunkenness, which just is the idea of out of control. Take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, so that that day come upon you unaware. I'm just going to put my own little word in there, busyness. Busyness. I can be so busy, I'm no use to God. And if I'm no use to God, He might as well just take me home. We put in a sign out front one year, if you were to die, would the work of Christ be impacted in any way? Is what you're doing crucial and helpful to the work of the Lord? And when we think about it, why would God keep me here then? Is He just trying to pleasure me? The innkeeper was unaware, unattentive, and unprepared for this night. It's interesting, as I was studying out the passage again, the angel never told Mary and Joseph they would have to go through this. They told about their coming birth, and she was let known, and, I'm just a handmaid, she said. But they were never told you're going to have to do this, go through all this. Joseph was not told. There's going to be a lot of things the Lord's not going to tell you. Maybe you and I can handle it. I know some of the things I've been through. If the Lord would have told me, I don't know if I can handle that. So in all of life, He's going to guide and direct us. He's not going to tell us everything. And we're going to end up in some of these places just like Mary and Joseph were. The decree of Caesar is what moved them. Not the decree of God. Caesar, the whole world is going to be taxed. You got to go to your home area there. So God was working His will out through the government. Did you ever think about that today, that maybe God is working His will out through our government? Getting us in places? Caesar wasn't aware of it. He's probably just looking at the money. But God was working through an unsaved kingdom to work out His will. You surely wouldn't expect the King of Kings to be born in a manger in a stable. Okay? It just doesn't fit. It should be in a palace. Come on. This is a King of Kings. God may have to humble us. And some of the places He takes us can be very humbling. Maybe to get our attention. Your purposeful place may be a stable or the Sheridan. Moses was taken to the backside of the desert, to a burning bush. There, his purpose in that place was to know the will of God for his life. Each of us needs to have that. Or I'll live my whole life. What was my life about? And if it's all about me and what I want to do, I've missed all of life. This 50, 60, 70, 80 years, whatever God gives me, gives us, would have been wasted. Because I can be busy. I can be busy with the wrong things. Peter was taken to his place. Remember on the storm on the Sea of Galilee? 2 weeks were there. He had to learn faith. Here, the innkeeper, I think the Lord may have been reaching out to him. But it's a lesson to us. God will take care of us. His grace. I'm going to put this message, the purpose of this is grace. For Mary and Joseph, they just accept. We don't see them whining and complaining. I'm sure it was disappointing. They accept the will of God. But they learn that God's grace is sufficient. And sometimes God's going to take us to the stable to teach us things, a lot of things, about God's needs. And to be aware of what's going on around me. Not so much what's going on inside me, like what's my life about. To learn that grace, that His grace will sustain us. Let's be attentive to these places that God takes us. Let's be prepared for purity and purpose of life. And I think we'll understand the Christmas message was that Christ came to save, but to give us a life, abundant life, filled with His purposes. Let's pray. Our heads are bowed and our eyes are closed. We come to our invitation time. I've chosen a hymn this morning, He Leadeth Me. After I got saved for about 2 years, I used to sing this and hum this. I took a bus to work, and when I was walking around a job, and just how God had worked in my life. If you're unsaved this morning, you're not sure you're a Christian, where you're going. You know, God, I'm telling you, He loves you so much, you cannot understand that. And He's trying to save you. He's trying to let you know you have a great need, but He's a great Savior. You have to receive His gift, and I pray that you would do that today. Christian, don't be unaware of Jesus around you. Don't be unattentive to His needs. Don't be unprepared for the work that the Lord has for you. You're not a nobody. You're a somebody. You're a Christian. Somebody that God wants to use has a perfect plan which will glorify and bring pleasure to Him. Make room in your life for Jesus and His will. Sometimes in doing that, you have to empty yourself because the room is too packed with me and my and I and mine. I've got to make room for Jesus. I have to empty some of that. It comes down to just the priorities. It might be through a stable. It might be through a Sheridan. It might be through a Caesar that God directs. It may be through a friend. It may be through the law of the land, or it may be through the law of God. But let God learn that grace, that sustaining grace, that wherever He takes you, He'll provide. Let Him teach you those things He's trying to teach you. You can remain in your seat with your head bowed, but as the Lord leads you, want to take something to the altar, you come as He leads. He leadeth me. He leadeth me, O blessed thought, O words with heavenly comfort fraught. Whate'er I do, whate'er I be, still 'tis God's hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me, He leadeth me. By His own hand, He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by His hand He leadeth me. A number of people coming forward this morning. A great time right before the new year. Rededicate yourself. Just pour out your heart to God. I don't want to bother you. Maybe God's bothered you about something. This is the time. This is the Spirit of God at work. Come, just talk to the Lord. Make a commitment. God, help me do this. God, I need to make room. I'm too packed. I've packed out my house with the wrong things. Father, thank you for the time this morning in your word. Thank you for the story of this innkeeper. This innkeeper is a great picture of every one of us before we were saved. Unaware, unattentive, unprepared. Thank you for Jesus, who saw us in this way and yet came and gave his life for us, shed his precious blood to save, cover our sins. Sadly, though, Lord, and most Christians have been there, we can still play the role of the innkeeper even after we're saved. Remind us, Lord, what life is really all about. Bless the remainder of our service now as we lift up the holy name of Jesus. Thank you that you made room for us, Lord, on that cross. And we'll thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay.